Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavrikacharya Satira Sada Shishimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premsika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Jai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Masai Buddha Seniors. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, and this is text number 19. Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaha Prajakalayate Kridan Pashupalo Yatapashun Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaya Prajakalayate Kridan Pashupalo Yatapashun Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaya Prajakalayate Kridan Pashupalo Yatapashun Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaya Kridan Pashupalo Yatapashun Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaya. Brother, could you get some water? Yeah, thank you. Pashupalo Yatapashun Kalo Baliyan Balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro Vyaya Prajakalayate Kridan Pashupalo Yatapashun. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Kalaha. Time. Baliyan. More powerful. Balanam. Than the powerful. Bhagavan Ishvaraha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Avyayaha, inexhaustible. Praja, mortal creatures. Kalayate, causes to move. Kridan, playing. Pashupalaha, a herdsman. Yata, as. Pashun, domestic animals. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Inexhaustible time, stronger than the strong, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Like a herdsman moving his animals along, He moves mortal creatures as His pastime. Please repeat. Inexhaustible time, stronger than the strong, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Like a herdsman moving his animals along, He moves mortal creatures as His pastime. Purport. The universe is created to gradually rectify the contaminated souls trying to exploit material nature. The Lord moves the conditioned souls along according to their karma, through the various stages of spiritual rectification. Thus the Lord is like a herdsman. The word Pashupala literally means protector of animals, who moves the creatures under His protection to various pastures and watering spots in order to protect them and sustain them. A further analogy is that of a doctor who moves the patient under his care to various areas of a hospital for diverse kinds of examination and treatment. Similarly, the Lord brings us through the network of material existence in a gradual cleansing process so that we can enjoy our eternal life of bliss and knowledge as His enlightened associates. Thus, all of Muchakunda's relatives, friends, and co-workers had long ago been swept away by the force of time, which, of course, is Krishna Himself. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityatamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesa Shunyavadi Prashajadesh Charani Vanchakalpa Tarubhyas Chap Kripa Sindhu Vyeva Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. What's striking about this verse is it's talking about time. And talking about time, this time is, what is it described as? Balayan Balanam, more powerful than the most powerful. Inexhaustible time, stronger than the strong. This time factor is killing us all, and it is changing everything at all times. And so we're this class will be speaking about time and how time is Krishna's energy. It should be noted, though, that the purport, which is written by Gopi Puranadana or Hridayananda Maharaj, Gopi Puranadana Prabhu, is a very positive purport in the sense that it states that the universe is running on time, but that time is being used by the Lord to rectify the fallen conditioned souls so that the fallen conditioned souls can actually, once again, engage in loving service in the world beyond time, which is the spiritual world. The acharyas also have short tikas, which are not quite as positive, but speak about time and its nature. And then we'll look at time as it's written in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is very blunt. Who has made them move? This verse answers, time. Jiva Goswami states, time is called Bhagavan since it is non-different from the Lord as His Shakti. Thus, time is called the controller, Ishvaraha. It is never exhausted. Avyaya. It is a continuous flow without beginning or end. It leads kalayate, all beings. What is its purpose? It is its play. We're living in a play, like Shakespeare said. All the world's a stage, and everybody's an actor. And once we finish the one play, we begin another play. This shows time's power. It is like a herdsman herding his animals. This shows time's independence. Sanatana Goswami writes, time is the strongest among the strong because of its Lord Narayan. Because it is the Lord Narayan. So time is Krishna. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita also. The Amsha is non-different from the Amshi, the Lord. So Amsha means the limb, and Amshi means like the trunk. So the limb is part of the tree. So in this case, time, Kala, the limb of the Supreme Lord, is the same as the Supreme Lord. The Lord is endowed with all powers. He does not decrease since he is infinite. So there's plenty of time to come. He moves all creatures somewhere else, kalayate, in order to play. It is his play, or he never tires in this action. His power is shown. He does it like play, as a pastime, just as a cowherd gathers cows as play at a certain time. The cowherd is the master of the cows, moving them according to his will. This material world is sometimes described to be the Lord's Shrishti Leela, and that's his Leela of mercy. In other words, he can extend his merciful touch to us, the fallen souls, in this world of time. Bhagavad Gita states that there's actually 5 factors being discussed: the Supreme Lord, the living entities, material nature, time, and karma. Of those 5, the first 4 are eternal. The Lord always exists. The living entity always exists. Material nature always exists in some form. And time always exists. Karma is temporary, but it's really old. And it is a factor of the time and the living entities in the material world. So while we're in this material world, we are dictated by time. Things come and go. Sometimes we speak about the relationships in this material world being reflections of the relationships in the spiritual world, perverted reflections. And they are perverted indeed, because in the spiritual world, the relationships, they're permanent. Mother Yashoda is eternally taking care of Krishna in the form of Balakrishna, little boy. And therefore, she relishes that relationship with Krishna forever, literally. In this material world, sometimes Prabhupada would say that the mother's love is the closest thing to pure love. The mother may be very, very close to her little infant, later the toddler, but maybe not so much when the toddler's in the terrible twos. And later on, when the child grows up, the relationship is completely different. It may be one of friendship, like mom and daughter or mom and son run a business together or something like that. Or it may be estranged. So nothing in this material world, the motherly love it's a burst, it's an instant, it doesn't last compared to the eternal love that lasts in Goloka Vrindavan. Similarly, the same thing. with loving relationships of a romantic nature, young romance. So much of it is there. I mean, from Romeo and Juliet and every other story ever written, almost always includes some sort of romance, and the princess and the prince live happily ever after. Well, how long is ever after? In this material world now, there's probably a divorce within 2 years, but even if it's forever after, that's 50 years. But Radha and Krishna have a love that lasts forever and becomes deeper forever. So we are really shortchanged by time. Time being the factor. Time is the Supreme Lord, and we can hear that when we go to Bhagavad Gita. There are several verses, and the first verse I'll cite here is chapter 10, verse number 30. Praladas chasmi daityanam kala kala yatam aham mriganam cha mrigendro ham vainate yascha pakshinam. So we got kala kala yatam, time, kala yatam, of subduers. What is this translation? Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion, and among birds, I am Garuda. And Prabhupada writes, in the purport, there are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe, and so represents Krishna. So, time wears down everything. Everything, like the mountains, they get worn down by the wind and the water over time. Even the sun will not last forever. It's stated that our Lord Brahma is about 50 years old by his time. He lives 311 trillion years. So even Lord Brahma is temporary. And interestingly enough, the scientists, they say, according to their calculations, the sun is about 50 years old if the sun lives 100 years by its time. So it's been here for some billions of years, and it will be here for some more billions of years. We take it as fixed because we're living such a short lifespan that the sun's lifespan seems permanent. But it's not permanent. Everything is worn down through the time factor. And then the next verse that where time is mentioned is actually text number 33 of the same chapter 10. Aksharanam akarosmi dvanva samasikasya cha aham evakshaya kalo, and there's kalo again, dataham vishvato mukha. Of letters, I am the letter A, or A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma. Prabhupada writes in his purport, among all kinds of killers, time is the ultimate, because time kills everything. Time is the representative of Krishna, because in due course of time, there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. Everything, even the universe, is on a time schedule. I just read the other day about the oldest man alive. He's like almost 112. And he's attributes his long life to good luck. Good luck. Maybe good genes. But he has good habits too. But the point being is that he's seemingly living a very long time, but time will catch up. The interesting thing also is that we see that time is always wearing things down. The only case where time seems to not wear things down is in the case of life. For a period of time, life seems to be winning. It's springtime, and all the flowers are coming up. The trees are getting green. Some people in this room are young, and they're growing, and they're getting bigger and stronger. And it seems like they're working it. Time's okay. as time passes in the next few years, I get smarter, stronger, more able to do things. But guess what? What goes up must come down in this material world. And at one point, there's a peak, and then things begin to, as they say, mature, which may be decay in a nice way. So the point being is that even life, which seems to go against time for a period, it is not permanent. Only life in the spiritual world is permanent. Therefore, we are living in an atmosphere of dukaliam ashasvatam. It's temporary and it's miserable. Why? Because we, the spirit soul, we're eternal. We're full of knowledge and bliss. That's our nature. That's our constitutional position. And we're entrapped in a world where everything is, there's a time, there's a stopwatch ticking down, and that stopwatch each second it wears things down as things go on. What does Krishna say in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? This is the famous verse, actually quoted by Robert Oppenheimer when the atomic bomb exploded. He was reading the Gita, and he quoted this verse, Sri Bhagavanu Vacha, Kalosmi loka kshaya krit pravido lokan samahartum iha pravita rite pitvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye vastita pratyani keshu yoda. Because Arjuna asks, who are you, Krishna, in the universal form? And he says, time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Yudhisthira, when he was at the lake speaking to the, it was Yamaraj in disguise as I think it's a yaksha. And he said, what's the most amazing thing? Well, the most amazing thing is that we've seen that everybody dies, but we don't think that we'll die. And of course, people will say, well, I know I'm going to die. Well, we don't act like we're going to die. That's the point. If you take this one life, just this one life, which might be 100 years, and you compare it to eternity, it means that it's just like sitting around a bonfire at night. This one life is like one spark of that bonfire, that burns all night. It's nothing. But we take it as everything because we don't know what life really is. Because life is really life with Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in his purport to this verse, eventually all the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and everyone else are devoured like a meal by the Supreme. This form, time, of the Supreme Lord is the all-devouring giant. And here Krishna presents himself in that form of all-devouring time. So, we don't see time as all-devouring because we waste time. Time is precious. Time is something that we don't get more of. Stand by the Eno River and watch the water flow by. That water that you see in front of you, that at one moment, that water is past and it's not going to come back. It's headed down to another river, Tar River, I think, and then into the ocean. So the river is continuous; it's there, but the water, individual pieces of the water there, they're very short. So here's a whole big long canvas of time, and we're just a little particle, and we're not there long. Everything is destroyed by time. In the Bhagavatam, we can speak more about this time. If we go to the Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse number 17, and here Vidura, is instructing his brother Dhritarashtra, who has really screwed up his life, being a weak person who's completely been at the mercy of his evil son, Duryodhana. I mean, he's just, Duryodhana has really run the show, and Dhritarashtra just sits there and lets it happen, and everything gets destroyed. All his sons are killed, his whole kingdom is destroyed, and he's left an old man living in the house of his enemies. And Vidura is saying, you really have to change what you're doing, which he does. And in this verse, he speaks about one aspect of that change. Evam griheshu sat shaktanam pramatanam tad ihaya atyakramad avigyanata kala, here's kala again, kala parama dushtara, kala parama dushtara, eternal time supremely insurmountable. Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought. Oh, my family. Now, what our position in the family goes from a child at one point to a parent at another point to a grandparent, and we're changing all the time. Either we're looking up or looking down. So our positions are changing. And then Prabhupada writes in the purport, I am now happy. I have everything in order. My bank balance is quite enough. I can now give my children enough estate. I am now successful. The poor beggar sannyasis depend on God, but they come to beg from me. Therefore, I am more than the supreme God. These are the thoughts of which engross the insanely attached householder who is blind to the passing of eternal time. I mean, today we have people like that. These big billionaires who think that they can control the world. Actually, they consider themselves masters of the universe. But what masters are they? They get a toothache, they have to go to the dentist. And some of them, like Steve Jobs, who died many years ago, they don't even live very long. They get some disease that kills them. So this is an illusion that we're living some kind of life that is so important. And the Prabhupada says, he talks about this further down in the purport. They do not know at all how to solve the problems of life, but become engrossed in temporary family affairs, not knowing that eternal time is passing away imperceptibly and that their measured duration of life is diminishing every second, without any solution to the big problem, which is, namely, repetition of birth and death, disease and old age. This is called illusion. So we're trying to solve the problems. The traffic problem in Hillsborough is bad. The air quality in this city is bad. We have to make sure that people don't get sick with this disease, so we'll get some kind of vaccine. We want to make sure that we clear up this problem or that problem. Well, it's like people, on the Titanic trying to solve the problem of cleaning up their room as a ship sinks. I better straighten things up here. Why? Well, I don't like a messy room, but the ship is sinking. Well, I can't do anything about that, so I'll just clean my room. So we're solving all sorts of problems, but we don't solve the real problem. The real problem is that we're eternal, but we're living in a temporary body, which is going to pass away, and then we're going to get another one, and based upon our activities, that may be either, relatively speaking, good or, relatively speaking, bad. It will not be really good, but it might be, more comfortable, it might be less comfortable. But we're living here in the material world, which there is really no comfort. So here we are, and I can read one more here. It's an interesting one here. This is from Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse number 17. This is the Lord in the heart. And I'll just read the English because we're getting a little short on time. In that transcendental state of labdo pashanti. Labdo pashanti means the state of absolute bliss. because this is a chapter entitled "The Lord in the Heart," and this is a description of a yogi who is seeing Krishna in his heart, or super soul in his heart. In that transcendental state of labdo pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures, and what to speak of the demigods themselves. Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor material time. Prabhupada writes, devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods by its manifestation of past, present, and future, does not act on the transcendental plane. The influence of time is exhibited by the symptoms of birth, death, old age, and disease, and these four principles of material conditions are present everywhere in any part of the material cosmos up to the planet of Brahmaloka, where the duration of life of the inhabitants appears to us to be fabulous. And then Prabhupada writes down here a little farther. The Vaikuntha planets are also forms of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, and therefore the devotees of the Lord who are admitted into the abode of the Lord also get bodies of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, there is no difference between one and the other. The Lord's abode, name, fame, entourage, etc., are of the same transcendental quality. And how this transcendental quality differs from the material world is explained herewith in this verse. In the Bhagavad Gita, the three principal subjects have been explained by Lord Sri Krishna, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. But one can reach the Vaikuntha planets by the practice of Bhakti Yoga only. So, it's by practice of Bhakti that we can get free from our relationship to time. And our relationship to time, it's separating us from this eternal world of bliss and knowledge. And we really are fortunate that we can hear from the great personalities like Narottam Das Thakur, Rupa Goswami, and others, and because they speak to us through their words about the nature of eternity and how to become eternal. And so in his bhajan, which begins with Hari Hari Bipale Janama Goenu, Narottam Das Thakur, he states very clearly why we're suffering in this material world and what the solution is. Because we're talking about eternity. We're talking about becoming an associate of the Supreme Lord so that we can actually live our real life. And the line, Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan, that this holy name of the Lord is Goloka Premadan. It is prema from it is coming from the supreme abode of the Lord, and it is manifested in Harinam Sankirtan. It's the Lord's holy name, and our chanting of that holy name that opens up the gate to timeless life with Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in his purport to this, and I'm actually going to read a short purport of this. Hang on here, because I don't have much time. A portion of it here. It's number one. Oh, yeah, this is it. And this is just a portion. This is a song sung by Narottam Das Thakur, a very stalwart acharya in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, disciplic succession. He has sung many songs, important songs, and his songs are accepted as Vedic conclusion, very authoritative songs. So he is praying to Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, Hari Hari, I have simply spoiled my life. Hari Hari Bipale Janama Goyanu. Why have you spoiled your life? He says, Manusha Jivanam Paya. I have got this human form of life. Radha Krishna na Bhajiya. But I did not care to worship Radha and Krishna. Therefore I have spoiled my life. And how is it? It is exactly like one who takes poison knowingly. If someone takes poison unknowingly, there is excuse. But if someone takes poison knowingly, it is suicidal. So he says, I have committed suicide simply by not worshiping Radha and Krishna in this human form. Then he says, Goloka era Premadana, Harinama Sankirtan. This Krishna consciousness movement, Sankirtan movement, is nothing material. It is directly imported from the spiritual kingdom known as Goloka Vrindavan. So Goloka era Premadan, and it is not ordinary song. It is just the treasure of love of Godhead. So, but I have no attraction for this. Rati na janimo kene toy. I have no attraction for it. On the contrary, Vishaya Bishanale, Diba Nishe Iha Dwale. And because I do not accept it, therefore the blazing fire of poison of the material existence is constantly burning me. Diba Nishe Iha Dwale. Day and night my heart is burning on account of this poisonous effect of material existence. And Tari Bare, na koino upai. But I did not seek any remedy for this. In other words, the remedy for this blazing fire of material existence is this Sankirtan movement. It is imported from the spiritual kingdom. And who has imported it? Who has brought it? Then he says, Brajendra Nandana ye Sachi Sutta Hoila se. Brajendra Nandana, the son of the king of Braja, that is Krishna. Krishna is known as the son of Nanda Maharaj. He was king of Braja Bhumi. So Brajendra Nandana ye, say the same personality who was formerly the son of Nanda Maharaj has now appeared as the son of Mother Sachi. Sachi Sutta Hoila se. And Balaram Hoila Nitai. And Balaram has become Nityananda. So these two brothers adventing, they are delivering all kinds of fallen souls. Papi Tapi Jata Chilo. As many fallen souls there are within this world. They're delivering them simply by this chanting process. Hari Name Udarilo, simply by this chanting. How is it possible? Then he says, Tara Shakshi Jagai and Madai. The living example is the two brothers Jagai and Madai. So this is the important point. The important point is that we're discussing something that can't be overcome. It's insurmountable. Balayan Balanam. Insurmountable time, stronger than the strongest. The yogis, they do great austerities to enter into a samadhi state that's described by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. And in that state, they become in a timeless state of consciousness. But in this day and age, we can't do this. In fact, in this day and age, we're just caught up in time. No time for this, no time for that. I'm running out of time. I mean, we got a lot of time words here, time phrases. But we can enter the timeless state by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At least while we're chanting our rounds, at least while we're in a kirtan, we should be absorbed in these timeless names. We're going to be absorbed in our timed nonsense, surely, because we're all conditioned. But while we're chanting and while we're engaging in devotional service, it's timeless. Of course, engaging in devotional service can mean scrubbing the pots, but scrubbing the pots after we've been chanting, fully absorbed, means that when we're scrubbing the pots, then we can be fully absorbed also. But we need to become fully absorbed in the timeless nature of the holy name, because the holy name will deliver us from this world of timed destruction. Everything's going to fall apart. Nothing's going to last. Love's not going to last. Hate won't last either. Strong people become weak, and weak people may become strong. Nothing lasts. And the older you get, the more you know it. It dawns on you at a certain point that time is passing, and I am also passing. So let's not pass from this world in ignorance, but pass from this world in full consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It's only great because there are great people speaking, and it's not me. I'm just repeating what they said.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiranganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
74. 74. Page 74.
Vibhavari Shisha Alaka Pravesha Nidra Chari Utha Jiva Nidra Chari Utha Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Narsingha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shyama Bhutana Ghatana Kaitavashatana Jaya Dasarathi Rama Jashoda Dulala Govinda Gopal Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Ravananta Kara Makhanata Skara Gopi Jana Vastrahari Ravananta Kara Makhanata Skara Gopi Jana Vastrahari Brajela Rakhara Gopa Vrindapala Chitta Hari Bhamsidari Brajela Rakhara Gopa Vrindapal Chitta Hari Bhamsidari Yogindra Vandana Shri Nandanandana Braja Jana Bhaya Hari